Hey, so today I'm going to rank through all of the X-Men movies, which you already know because you read the title. I always say that when it comes to these obvious ones, when the title tells you everything that you need to know, but yeah, that's what we're doing, so get ready for a wild ride, I guess, in my house. It's not that exciting, but okay, so there's 12 X-Men movies at the moment. I don't know when the hell New Mutants is supposed to come out, if ever. So let's go. Coming in at number 12 is Dark Phoenix. I actually only watched this for the first time the other day. I didn't end up seeing this one in cinemas, which, like, at these sorts of times where you can't go see movies in cinemas, like, I kind of regret it because it's like I should have appreciated every moment. But anyway, I didn't go see Dark Phoenix, and I don't know. How do I feel about Dark Phoenix? Nothing. It's fine, I guess. I don't think that this is as atrocious as everybody kind of said. Like, I was going through the reviews when I was watching it, and 1s and 2s everywhere. 1s and 2s galore. People fucking hate this movie with a passion. I just don't have that hate in me. I really don't. Not for this movie. Like, whatever. I thought it was fine. Was the villain great? Hell no. Were, like, the characters wasted? Yeah. Was it great? No. Was it a good ending? No, but it was okay. It was fine. That's basically all I have to say. 11 is X-Men 3: The Last Stand. This is another one that people have just pure passion against. For me, though, I have to say that I like every X-Men movie okay. It kind of goes from okay, whatever, to fantastic by the end of this ranking list. And X-Men 3 pops in there as like, okay. I think it's actually got some fantastic stuff in there, like that scene with the dude with the angel wings. I don't know his name. Sorry, X-Men fans. I'm an X-Men fan, but I don't know all the obscure characters and stuff, even if you don't think he's that obscure. I don't know his name, okay? Leave me alone. But that scene where he's trying to cut off his wings in the bathroom sink, and it's like actually quite tragic how he's trying to shed his own personality. And this movie actually does kind of explore with the idea of personality and if the mutants are something that can be cured, and like kind of the divide between them and their opinions on this is actually pretty interesting, and I like that aspect quite a lot. Now look, is the rest of the story with Phoenix and everything, again, rushed as hell? Definitely. Is Cyclops just thrown to the side and never used again and never seen again and whatever? Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened with that character. Actually I do. James Marsden apparently went on to do Superman Returns instead of this movie, which seems questionable, but whatever. Anyway, 10 is X-Men Origins Wolverine. Alright, look, I gotta be honest, like, I don't think that this is a good movie, and we all know dodgy CGI, dodgy this and that, dodgy writing, whatever, but this is kind of a guilty pleasure of mine, and I actually really liked it when I was younger. Like that stupid scene where it's just walking away from the explosion, and it's super close and slow motion and stuff.
Cool guys don't look at explosions.
And all the parts where he's riding the motorbike and stuff. I don't know, I thought this movie was awesome when I was a kid, you know, when I was like 12 or whatever. So I kind of have a bit of nostalgia for it, so it's not at the very, like, worst on this list, but I acknowledge that it's not great. Also, they fucked up Deadpool detrimentally, and that enraged me, because I was a fan of Deadpool. That was my one big flaw with this movie. What the fuck did they do to Wade Wilson? That I do have a, like, angry passion for. But the movie around that, like, ignoring that... It's just dumb fun, I don't know, whatever. 9 is Apocalypse. This is the most meh movie of the entire franchise, if you ask me. It's just like, whatever, yeah, sure, I don't know. I barely remember it, and that's about it. But, you know, there's some neat Quicksilver stuff, like where he's saving everybody from the mansion and stuff. I like the cast generally, like, they're alright, and, I don't know. It's fun. This is another one that people really don't like. I don't know how they kept making all these X-Men movies when people hate them so much, but I think it's fine. 8 is maybe a controversial one in X-Men 2. I know a lot of people watching this were probably expecting this to be a lot higher on the ranking. I gotta say, I don't really love it that much. It kind of feels like, I don't know, like it kind of feels like it's re-saying some of the stuff from number 1 to me, and I don't care about the villain all that much. Like the whole Stryker thing doesn't interest me all that much. Maybe it was rewatching these movies over and over when I was growing up and stuff, but like I started to get real over the whole Wolverine origin thing, which is pretty ironic because I did like Wolverine Origins. But there's also some great scenes in this, like that scene where the bad guys raid the X-Mansion and Wolverine has to kind of take them all out stealthily, and then it kind of stops being as stealthily soon enough. That's like a classic scene in my mind. I really like that. Also the introduction to Nightcrawler. It was very ahead of its time in like special effects and stuff when it came out. But I just don't have the full full love for this movie like other people do, but I generally like it. I think it's pretty solid. 7 is The Wolverine. This might be considered pretty high on this ranking list. I like it quite a lot. I don't think that it's as high quality, like in intelligence, kind of, when it comes to some of the other movies in this franchise. It's a bit dumb, especially with the bad guy turning into like this giant metal thing at the end and all that kind of stuff. But I just really like that this one feels a bit different, kind of. Like, this one doesn't feel as stuck in its own kind of themes of being a mutant in the same sort of way as all the other ones did. Like, Wolverine kind of has gone on an escape. He goes to Japan, and like it feels a bit different in the culture and in the fighting styles and stuff. Like, he's kind of a samurai in this movie, and it's kind of interesting. I like that aspect to it, and I like the action quite a lot. That train scene is pretty awesome, and the scene where they're at the funeral thing and Wolverine gets shot and stuff because he's starting to lose his powers in this one, and so he's like weaker than everybody. It kind of humanizes him, it levels him with the bad guys, and that's kind of an interesting aspect as well, because he's in a bit more danger than you'd expect. He's still pretty damn invincible, but like less so. And this was the first one that was directed by James Mangold, who went on to do Logan. So I mean, there's obviously some promising stuff. The guy obviously knows the character pretty well, and I think that this one does a good portrayal of that character. And number 6 is where we start getting into the really good stuff, in my opinion, and number 6 being Deadpool. Look, Deadpool, the first movie Deadpool was a dream come true. I had been a fan since about 2012 or something. I've read a whole load of the comics. I'm a big fan of Deadpool. And it did not seem like a Deadpool movie would ever come out, especially with what they did with him in Wolverine Origins. Like, that did not seem like the right step to take. But then Ryan Reynolds saved the day. Or presumably anyway, sending in that stock footage or whatever of that test thing that they did. And my life was changed. They were making a Deadpool movie. It was finally announced, and we weren't sure if it was going to be PG-13 or R, which is M or MA in Australia. That's our ratings, so that's more what I'm talking about. But then we found out that it was going for that more adult-orientated focus with the violence and swearing and all that stuff, and I'm like, hell yeah, good as, this is going to be great. I did argue at the time that I didn't feel like it had to be R-rated, because I think that the character can work in a more censored kind of way. They can poke fun at that, they can make jokes. And the center of Deadpool, what makes him funny, is the meta stuff, not him swearing and making dick jokes and stuff. But the violence was something that I did kind of want quite a bit, because like, he's kind of just a guy who doesn't give a shit and he'll kill people for whatever reason and stuff. I don't know, I kind of wanted to see that. And then when they finally brought that out, and that was pretty much what it was like this hugely faithful adaptation to this character that I love. It was exciting as fuck to see. Like for instance, I love Spider-Man, right? But I knew him from the movies first. Deadpool was a character, like, this was the first character that I knew from the comics who they hadn't made a movie about, and then when they did, like, it was the first character that they made a movie about for a character that I already liked, not from movies. Does that make sense? I was excited, and it really lived up to what I wanted, so yeah. Even though it was a little bit cliche, like telling the origin and stuff, like, you know, it did feel like it was kind of retreading similar tropes, even though it was trying to make fun of those tropes, but it kind of just became what it was trying to make fun of. But it did it in a very, very fun way, with a very good character, a very good portrayal of that character, and it did it with a whole lot of style. The action in this movie is actually pretty damn impressive for the low budget. 5 is the original X-Men. This is, I think, a much better movie than people might remember it being. I know it's obviously popular, people like it a lot, but this is actually a really clever movie when it comes to like the political spectrum of this universe within the movie, and how it kind of explores the prejudices that the mutants in this universe have to face every day and what people think of them. And it's a compelling, you know, portrayal of what is essentially racism. That being said, the original X-Men has a terrible tagline, which is trust a few, fear the others, or something like that. And it's like, no, that's entirely the wrong point of that movie. You're meant to trust most of them. Most of them are good people just like anybody, but they just happen to have powers. But some of them are evil. Wrong tagline. Anyway, 4 is Deadpool 2. This one just kind of improved on the first one. It's fantastic, and I love time travel. Time travel! If you got time travel in your movie, I'm probably going to be a fan. Yeah, this one was just awesome, and it had Cable in it. Cable and Deadpool together was like something that I wanted to see as well, and this movie delivered on that. And so, yeah, I was a happy boy from the years of 2016 to 2018. I think Deadpool 2 came out in. And so, yeah. Okay, top 3. Number 3 is First Class. First Class is quality stuff. I feel like anybody could enjoy First Class. If you don't care about X-Men, you're gonna like First Class regardless. The cast is amazing. James McAvoy as Professor X, and his kind of division, his kind of conflict with Michael Fassbender's Magneto is some of the best stuff in this entire franchise. It's very much the heart of this movie. I really, really love the kind of tragic villain in Mysterio and how he is going down that wrong path. You can see that he is, but like there's still that good in him, and Charles and Eric are still friends. They're still tragically friends. But Magneto's not fully a bad guy yet. They're kind of working together for some of this movie, but you know where that's going to end later on, and that's kind of the tragedy of this movie. It's also cool to finally see a different era for the first time in this universe. We hadn't seen that before, so that was kind of like an interesting take that set this one apart as well. And it just has this whole classic kind of feel to it. It just feels different and fresh from the others, and it's just solidly done. Like this, I'm such a big fan of this one. I think anybody would like it. And the scene with Magneto in the bar is just some Inglourious Basterds level shit, and I love it so much. I just want him to have his own movie, but I don't think that's ever going to happen now, sadly. Moving on to number 2 is Logan. Logan himself. Logan. That's why I got it facing there, because it is one of my favorites. I guess you've already figured out what my number 1 is. But number 2 is Logan. Brutal stuff. This is such a good fucking take on the character. My only gripe with this movie is that it feels very not connected to the rest of them, but that being said, I kind of like that. I kind of want more movies to just be kind of what-if scenarios and be kind of like different. Like, go for something different. Not everything has to be fully connected, but it still feels like this could have been a possible future from the character that we'd seen in previous movies, so it was close enough. This movie is it's not even a superhero movie. This is a Western with some superpowered people. The scene in the woods, for instance, when he is just ripping people apart in his berserker mode thing, is just the most badass thing that you can ever see. Let's be honest. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of action when it comes to movies. Like, maybe I sound like I am when I'm sort of pointing out some of the set pieces in these movies and stuff. And I like them. I like action in movies and stuff, but it's not what I find the most compelling in movies. But the action in this is awesome. But what I really like about this movie, and that being said, is how grounded it is and how compelling it is. This tells a very human story about people who just happen to be kind of inhuman. And the character of X-23 and Laura and her relationship with Logan is something very kinetic and special that is not something that just happens. It's not just happenstance. Like, they very intendedly... Is that a word? They cast her for that role perfectly. Their chemistry together is like, it's not perfect, but that's kind of what makes it perfect in that way. They don't get along that well, but they clearly care for each other, kind of. And this movie is amazing. It's amazing. It's so fucking good. My one gripe, even though I just swore just then, was that they try way too hard for this to be R-rated. They're like, fuck, shit. There's some boobs at the start for some reason. And I'm like, why? Can we not do that? It's kind of weird. Doesn't fit, especially when it's Charles Xavier swearing. It's like, that's not the character. Can we not do that? I get it, it's rated R, you can do this stuff. You have a bit more freedom with this stuff, but like, settle down. Do it with the violence, that feels natural. All the swearing and shit, you're taking it a bit too far. But that's really my one problem, and it doesn't bother me too much, but it's clear what they were going for, and it kind of gets annoying when you watch this movie. Other than that though, plot, story, that's the same thing. Everything other than that, the direction and stuff, every acting and blah blah, all that stuff, fantastic. That can be forgiven, whatever. And number 1, you've already probably figured it out since I've said everything else, is Days of Future Past. Days of Future Past is what I think is like the quintessential version of an X-Men movie. It's got both casts in it, it's got time travel in it, it's about mutants being mutants, and it's about the political stuff, about what people think of them in that way. It's about them fighting for their rights. It's about them rebelling against people who tell them that they can't be who they are, basically. It's about them just trying to do what's right, defend themselves, defend people, be superheroes. This is the quintessential X-Men movie. It is the best of the lot. I love it very much. It's just so damn good. Days of Future Past is my favorite, and yeah, shut up if you disagree, because you're wrong. Not really, it's subjective. Everybody can have their own opinion. Okay, so yeah, that's all I have to say. Do the things like comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff, and get out of here. Go watch some X-Men movies or something. I don't know.